Hello, English learners. Welcome back. We are here at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to be bringing you a lesson about eggs.
That's right. And who knew there was so much to talk about when we're talking eggs?
Right. Well, we always have eggs for breakfast, and there are many ways of preparing them. So we're going to learn what the different ways are.
Yes, and we'll learn some of the language that goes along with eggs.
Okay. So we have 3 words that we want to take a look at before we listen to our dialogue. So let's look at these in vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Our preview word for this lesson is picky.
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 So picky is an interesting adjective.
Okay, so if a person is picky, what does that mean?
They're very hard to please.
Okay. So if your boss is picky and you give him a report and maybe it has, I don't know, a couple of mistakes or something.
Yeah, he'll say, do it again.
Do it
Change
up.
this, and this.
Okay.
So if you are picky, you want everything to be perfect.
Okay.
And if there's one small thing that's not, you won't be happy.
Okay. So picky. Interesting word. Now our next word, yolk.
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 Y-O-L-K.
Yolk.
So this word is actually not in the dialogue.
It's not in the dialogue, but it's important that
Yes.
you know, right?
Okay, so if you have an egg, the yellow part is called the yolk.
Okay. And what about the other part?
The white.
The white.
The white.
Or also called the egg white, right?
Yes, egg white.
Okay, so pretty simple. Yolk and egg white. Let's listen to our dialogue. We are going to be listening to a couple who are having breakfast.
Wow, you're up early today. What's for breakfast?
Well, I felt like baking, so I made some muffins.
Smells good. I'll make some coffee. Do you want me to make you some eggs?
Sure, I'll take mine sunny side up.
Phew, I don't know how you can eat your eggs like that. Ever since I was small, I've had eggs and soldiers.
You know, my dad had scrambled eggs every morning for 20 years. It drove my mom crazy.
You know what really drives me crazy? When I ask for soft-boiled eggs and they overcook them so they come out hard-boiled. How can you dip your toast into a hard-boiled egg?
You're so picky sometimes.
Here you go, honey. Fried eggs.
Damn it! I said sunny side up. How many times do I have to tell you?
Well, she is definitely very picky and has a very bad temper.
I know. I can't believe anyone would get so angry over their breakfast.
Yeah.
But I guess it is the most important meal of the day.
Exactly. So we heard a couple of different ways of describing how you prepare eggs. So let's take a look at that in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, so our first preparation method, my favorite,
All right.
sunny side up.
Okay. Sunny side up.
Sunny side up.
Now, this is interesting. Sunny, like the sun, right?
Exactly.
So when you fry an egg, right, and the yolk looks like a little sun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So why is it called sunny side up?
I think because of what you just said. It looks like the sun.
But you don't cook the yolk, right?
Okay, yeah, the yolk is still yellow. It's still a little bit liquid, a little bit soft.
Okay, because the opposite would be a fried egg.
Yes,
And that's our second word,
fried egg.
fried egg,
So this, you put the egg in the pan and you cook it all the way through.
all the way through. So the yolk is not liquid anymore. It becomes hard. And,
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay,
A fried egg.
fried egg. All right, so now let's take a look at our next set of eggs.
All right.
Soft-boiled egg.
A soft-boiled egg.
Soft-boiled.
Soft-boiled.
Okay, so to boil, you put the egg
In water.
in boiling water
Yes, and make it cook.
and make it cook. So how long would you usually put it in for to be soft-boiled?
3 minutes? 4
3
minutes? Yeah.
Okay. So you only cook part of the egg, right?
Right. The yolk, the yellow part, stays a little bit wet, a little bit liquid.
Uh-huh. Okay. So again, the opposite would be
A hard-boiled egg.
hard-boiled egg.
Hard-boiled.
So hard-boiled is when you cook the entire egg again.
Yes, so then it's hard like a ball.
The entire egg. Mm-hmm. So with this soft-boiled and hard-boiled eggs, this takes us to our next form, Eggs and soldiers.
Eggs and soldiers.
Eggs and soldiers.
Eggs and soldiers.
Now, this is really interesting. I didn't really know about this before. It kind of sounds like you're having eggs with a group of soldiers from the army.
Well, this is a very British way of eating eggs. So you have your soft boiled egg in a cup, and you have a piece of toast. But the toast is cut into long pieces.
Okay.
And then you take those pieces and you dip them into the egg yolk.
Oh,
It's delicious.
It's good.
Yeah.
Ah.
Typical English way of eating eggs.
Okay, so eggs and soldiers. Interesting. And this takes us to our last form of egg preparation and probably the most popular.
Yes. Scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs.
Take eggs, put them in a pan, and then you just move them all over the place.
Mix them all up.
Mix them all up.
So the yolk and the white are mixed together.
Mixed together. All right. So we've looked at a lot of egg preparation, and now we can listen to our dialogue for the second time, and then we'll come back and look at some phrases.
Wow, you're up early today. What's for breakfast?
Well, I felt like baking, so I made some muffins.
Smells good. I'll make some coffee. Do you want me to make you some eggs?
Sure. I'll take mine sunny side up.
Ew, I don't know how you can eat your eggs like that. Ever since I was small, I've had eggs and soldiers.
You know, my dad had scrambled eggs every morning for 20 years. It drove my mom crazy.
You know what really drives me crazy? When I ask for soft-boiled eggs, and they overcook them so they come out hard-boiled. How can you dip your toast into a hard-boiled egg?
You're so picky sometimes.
Here you go, honey. Fried eggs.
Damn it. I said sunny side up. How many times do I have to tell you?
Interesting that the man in this dialogue is the one doing the baking.
Yeah, well, that's modern days. I don't know. Men are learning how to cook and, yeah.
A house husband.
House husbands, yeah, more popular these days.
All right, well, since this house husband felt like baking, I think we should look at this and one other phrase in Fluency Builder.
Okay, so great phrase. He said, I felt like baking.
I felt like baking.
I felt like baking. So let's take a look at this. He feels like, or he felt like in the past. What does that mean when you feel like?
You want to do it. You have the desire to do it.
Okay, and then to bake. And now this verb is in the gerund form.
That's right, the ing form.
And that's the rule, right? I feel like playing soccer.
Right. I feel like eating lunch.
I felt like going to the movies. That's the way you would say this. You have the desire, you feel like doing something.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. And now let's take a look at this second phrase. Drives me crazy.
Drives me crazy.
Drives me crazy.
All right, this is a very descriptive phrase, and I think if we listen to some examples, it will help us understand the meaning.
Example 1.
This music is driving me crazy. Turn it down.
Example 2.
Don't leave garbage in my car. It drives me crazy.
Example 3.
Your mom is driving me crazy. She keeps calling me.
All right, so if something drives you crazy,
It makes you feel very angry or annoyed.
Irritated.
Or, frustrated.
okay. But it could also be positive, right? Like, that girl drives me crazy.
As in you really, really, really like her.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds a little bit inappropriate to
Really?
me. Yeah.
I think it's okay. It drives me crazy.
I
It's
don't-
like, she's got me thinking and she's got me in the clouds or something like that.
All right. Well, maybe there's something about you that I don't need to know. So I'll just let you keep that thought to yourself.
All right. Well, I'm just saying we could use it in a positive form as well.
Okay.
right?
Okay. You're just saying.
I'm just saying. All right, so drives me crazy. Really great phrase, and you can use it in all of these different situations like we heard. So let's listen to our dialogue for the last time, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more.
Wow, you're up early today. What's for breakfast?
Well, I felt like baking, so I made some muffins.
Smells good. I'll make some coffee. Do you want me to make you some eggs?
Sure, I'll take mine sunny side up.
Ew, I don't know how you can eat your eggs like that. Ever since I was small, I've had eggs and soldiers.
You know, my dad had scrambled eggs every morning for 20 years. It drove my mom crazy.
You know what really drives me crazy? When I ask for soft-boiled eggs and they overcook them so that they come out hard-boiled. How can you dip your toast into a hard-boiled egg?
You're so picky sometimes.
Here you go, honey. Fried eggs.
Damn it! I said sunny side up. How many times do I have to tell you?
Well, I think there are some people who really, really love eating eggs for breakfast and some people who just can't stand it.
Yeah, I don't know who though. I mean, who doesn't like eggs in the morning,
I know, I'm a big fan.
right?
Yeah.
Eggs, bacon, toast.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Traditional American type breakfast.
Now, you were telling me that you have some traditions when you eat eggs.
I know. I'm not sure if this is just in my family, but I think actually it might be common with other people as well. When you eat a soft-boiled or hard-boiled egg, you have to, eat all of the egg outside of the shell, and then you have to break the bottom of the shell after you finished,
Why?
so that the fairies who live in your egg cup can come out.
So it's kind of like a superstition.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. You guys, do you have any egg traditions or any other crazy food stories like that?
Well, for example, I was telling you that when I prepare scrambled eggs, sometimes I like to take some rice, some rice that has already been cooked, put it in the pan, and then take some eggs, 2 eggs, put it on top of the rice, and scramble the rice with the eggs.
Okay, for breakfast?
Yeah, it could be for breakfast.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit, not like a huge plate of rice. Or maybe at night, you don't have anything to eat.
Okay.
Scrambled eggs
Yep.
with rice. It's a poor man's food.
All right. Well, it's also a quick man's food.
Yeah, exactly. So let us know if you guys have any egg preparations or any special egg recipes or traditions that
Yes.
you practice.
Hi there. If you love eggs or if you've ever wondered about the different ways to cook them, we're going to talk about eggs, how to prepare them, which types are most popular, and even which ones are best for breakfast. Eggs are simple, but they can be cooked in so many different ways, and each way gives them a different taste and texture. So, let's dive in. The basics of eggs. First, let's talk about the egg itself. When you crack open an egg, you'll see 2 main parts: the yolk, which is the yellow center, and the egg white, which is the clear part that turns white when cooked. The yolk is rich and creamy, while the egg white is light and soft. Depending on how you cook the egg, the yolk can be runny, soft, or completely firm. Now, let's go through the different ways to cook eggs, and I'll explain how each one looks and tastes. 1. Sunny side up. This is one of the most classic ways to prepare an egg. When you make a sunny side up egg, you crack it into a pan and cook it without flipping it. The yolk stays runny, and the egg white cooks all the way through. The name comes from the way it looks, like a bright sun on your plate. Some people love dipping toast into the soft yolk, while others don't like runny eggs at all. But personally, I think a sunny side up egg is perfect when you want something simple and delicious for breakfast. 2. Fried egg. A fried egg is similar to a sunny side up egg, but with one big difference: it's flipped. After cooking for a short time on one side, you carefully turn the egg over and cook the other side for a few seconds. This makes the yolk a little less runny, but it's still soft. Some people prefer it this way because they don't like the yolk to be too liquid. A fried egg is great in sandwiches, on top of rice, or even as a burger topping. 3. Soft boiled egg. If you like a warm, creamy yolk, then a soft boiled egg is for you. To make it, You boil the egg in water for about 4 to 6 minutes, depending on how runny you want the yolk to be. When you cut it open, the yolk is soft and slightly liquid, while the egg white is fully cooked. This is a very popular way to eat eggs in many countries. People often eat a soft-boiled egg with toast or dip bread into the yolk, and let me tell you, that combination is amazing. Eating a soft-boiled egg with warm toast feels like the perfect start to the day. 4. Hard-boiled egg. Now, if you leave the egg in boiling water for about 10 to 12 minutes, you get a hard-boiled egg. In this case, both the yolk and the egg white are fully cooked. The texture of the yolk is dry and firm, which makes it great for salads, sandwiches, or even eating it on its own with a little salt. Some people say a hard-boiled egg is boring, but I think it's one of the most useful ways to prepare eggs. You can take it anywhere, and it's healthy and filling. 5. Scrambled egg. Now, let's talk about one of the most popular egg dishes, scrambled egg. This is made by whisking eggs in a bowl, then cooking them in a pan while stirring constantly. The result is soft, fluffy eggs that are creamy and light. Many people eat scrambled egg for breakfast because it's easy to make and goes well with toast, cheese, or even vegetables. The first time I made scrambled egg, it didn't turn out great and it felt like I had ruined the eggs. But after a few tries, I got it just right. Soft, creamy, and delicious. Which egg is the most popular? Now you might be wondering, which egg preparation is the most popular? Well, it depends on where you live. In many countries, people love scrambled egg for breakfast because it's quick and easy. In Japan, soft-boiled egg is very popular in ramen. In America, many people enjoy a fried egg or sunny side up with bacon and toast. And in Europe, you'll find lots of people eating hard-boiled egg with salads or sandwiches. But no matter which type you prefer, eggs are a great choice for any meal. They are full of protein, easy to cook, and taste amazing in so many different ways. My favorite egg dish. If I had to choose my favorite egg, I'd say a soft-boiled egg is the best. I love dipping warm toast into the creamy yolk. It's simple, but so satisfying. But I have to be honest. When I accidentally overcook it and the yolk turns hard, it drives me crazy. There's nothing worse than expecting a soft, runny yolk, only to find out it's fully cooked. So there you have it, a complete guide to different types of eggs and how to prepare them. Whether you like scrambled egg, fried egg, or a classic hard-boiled egg, there's an egg dish for everyone. Next time you cook eggs, try a new method and see which one you like best. And remember, don't let overcooked eggs drive you crazy.
Hi there. Welcome. Are you ready to listen to our story? This morning, as the sunlight gently poured into my kitchen, I stood by the stove thinking about something simple but deeply comforting: eggs. Yes, eggs. You see, people often take them for granted, but there's an entire world of flavor, tradition, and language wrapped inside that little shell. Let me take you back to my childhood. I remember waking up to the smell of eggs sizzling in a pan. My grandmother had her own special way of making breakfast. It was always the same, yet it never felt boring. Sunny side up, she'd say, lifting the spatula like it was a magic wand. The bright yellow yolk would stare up at me like a happy sun. And I'd sit there, dipping toast into that rich, golden center, feeling like life couldn't get any better. As I grew older and started learning English, I realized something interesting. Talking about food is one of the best ways to connect with people, especially when learning a language. Just think about the expressions, "You're so picky," or "This drives me crazy." These phrases are full of emotion and personality. They come alive in situations just like breakfast arguments about how eggs should be cooked. Let's talk about that word, picky. If someone is picky, they're not easy to please. Imagine asking for scrambled eggs and someone gives you fried ones instead. A picky person might not just eat them, they might complain. They might even get upset. In relationships, this kind of pickiness can show up often in the smallest things, like how you want your toast your coffee, or your eggs. And that's where breakfast becomes more than just food. It's communication. It's how we express our needs. It's where cultures, habits, and emotions mix. When I started traveling, I discovered so many ways people eat eggs around the world. In some places, it's always scrambled. In others, it's soft-boiled with toast cut into little strips, what the British call eggs, and soldiers. That's another interesting phrase, right? Imagine dipping little toast soldiers into the soft, warm yolk. It's not just food, it's a story on a plate. Even learning the vocabulary of eggs helps your English. Words like yolk and egg white are basic, but they lead to richer language. You don't just say yellow part and white part anymore. You say, I like my yolk runny, or the egg white should be fully cooked. That's how you start speaking like a native. So today, I want you to think about this. How do you like your eggs? More importantly, what does your answer say about you? Because sometimes, the way we eat is the way we live, full of flavor, full of feeling, and always with a story worth sharing. I remember one particular morning when I stayed with a friend in Japan. We sat down for breakfast, and there in front of me was a bowl of steaming ramen. Yes, ramen for breakfast with a soft boiled egg floating right in the middle. The yolk was warm, golden, and just slightly runny. As I bit into it, the creamy center mixed with the broth, creating this perfect balance of comfort and flavor. It wasn't just a meal, it was an experience, and in that moment, I learned. Something powerful. Food can teach you language, culture, and emotion all at once. Let's focus on soft-boiled eggs for a moment. To make them, you boil the egg for just a few minutes, usually about 4 to 6. The result? The egg white becomes firm enough to hold its shape, but the yolk stays soft, even a little gooey. That's where the magic is. The contrast in texture gives every bite a surprise. It's smooth, warm, and somehow calming. In English, when you describe something like this, you might say, the yolk is still runny, or the egg white is cooked through. These are natural expressions. They're simple, but they sound fluent, and when you learn to talk about your food like this, you start building your English in a real, everyday way. Now, here's something interesting. When people prepare soft-boiled eggs, they often serve them in a small cup. You crack open the top and dip thin strips of toasted bread inside. These strips are called soldiers. It sounds playful, doesn't it? Eggs and soldiers. It's a very British tradition, and it reminds us that language is full of culture. But not everyone gets it right. There have been so many times when I've ordered soft-boiled eggs and ended up with hard-boiled ones instead. And that, let me be honest, drives me crazy. It's that feeling of expectation versus reality. You wanted something gentle and runny, and instead, you get something dry and overcooked. The phrase drives me crazy is a great one to remember. You can use it when you're annoyed, frustrated, or even excited. That noise drives me crazy, or this heat is driving me crazy. It adds emotion to your sentence. It makes your English sound alive. And, of course, if you're someone who gets upset when breakfast isn't exactly how you want it, you might be what we call picky. Picky people notice every little detail. If the yolk isn't soft enough, if the toast is too brown, if the coffee isn't strong enough, they're going to say something. Being picky isn't always bad, though sometimes it just means you know what you like. Learning how to express all these little preferences in English is a powerful skill. It helps you connect better, speak more naturally, and understand others more deeply. So the next time you prepare a soft-boiled egg or any dish, really pay attention. What words can you use to describe it? What feelings does it give you? Because every breakfast has a story, and every story helps you learn. One evening, after a long day of work, I didn't feel like cooking anything complicated. I opened the fridge and saw just a few simple ingredients, some leftover rice and a couple of eggs. That was it. So I did what many people around the world do when options are limited. I made scrambled eggs. But this time, I added something special. I warmed the rice in a pan, cracked 2 eggs over it, and began stirring. The eggs wrapped around the rice like a soft blanket, turning into this creamy, comforting dish. It reminded me of home, of rainy days, and of how the simplest meals often become the most memorable. Scrambled eggs are one of the easiest and most popular ways to cook eggs. You crack the eggs into a bowl, whisk them until the yolk and whites mix together, and then cook them in a pan while stirring constantly. The result is soft, fluffy, and full of warmth. In English, we use the word whisk when we mix eggs quickly with a fork or a wire tool. Try saying that. Whisk the eggs. It's a fun word, and it's useful in any kitchen conversation. Here's something else you should know. When you cook scrambled eggs slowly on low heat, they become more creamy. You can even add a splash of milk or a little butter for extra softness. The texture should be smooth, not dry or rubbery. That's why it's important to stir constantly while cooking. That's a great English phrase too, stir constantly. It means you keep mixing without stopping. But let's not forget the power of learning through habits. For example, someone might say, "My dad had scrambled eggs every morning for 20 years. Imagine that. Same breakfast every single day. That's not just a food story, that's a pattern, a ritual, and a piece of their identity. When you tell these kinds of stories in English, it teaches you how to use past tense naturally, like he had eggs every day, or she always made breakfast before work. Sometimes, these habits can affect the people around us. In that story, the man's routine drove his wife crazy. Why? Probably because making the same meal over and over can become tiring. That's another good example of using drive someone crazy. It's a flexible phrase. Use it when you want to describe something annoying, emotional, or intense. My loud neighbors drive me crazy, or the slow internet is driving me crazy. Now, let's go back to scrambled eggs for a moment. Some people like them plain, others like to add ingredients: cheese, onions, herbs, even tomatoes. In English, when you add something extra to a dish, you might say, "I like to throw in some cheese," or "I usually mix in a bit of pepper." These phrases make your speaking more casual and natural. So, here's a tip. The next time you cook or eat, try describing it out loud in English. Talk to yourself if you have to. Say things like, "I'm cracking 2 eggs," or "I'm stirring slowly." This practice builds your vocabulary in a way that's practical, memorable, and fun. In the end, scrambled eggs aren't just food, they're a lesson. A lesson in language, in comfort, and in finding joy in small routines. Let's talk about a classic that never goes out of style: the hard-boiled egg. You might think it's the most basic way to cook an egg, but don't be fooled. There's something incredibly satisfying about peeling away the shell and finding a perfectly smooth, firm egg underneath. It's simple, yes, but also incredibly useful and surprisingly powerful when it comes to learning English. To make a hard-boiled egg, you place the egg in boiling water for about 10 to 12 minutes. That's the key. Timing to short, and you end up with a soft center. Too long, and the yolk turns dry and the white becomes rubbery. When it's done right, the yolk is solid, crumbly, and perfect for slicing. In English, you'd say, boil the egg until it's fully cooked, or let it sit in boiling water for 12 minutes. These are great phrases to know, especially when you're giving or following instructions. Notice how we use the verb boil. That's when water reaches 100 degrees Celsius and starts bubbling. Now, let me tell you a funny story. A few years ago, I was invited to a picnic. I wanted to bring something healthy and easy to share, so I decided to make deviled eggs, which are made by cutting hard-boiled eggs in half, taking out the yolk, mixing it with mustard or mayonnaise, and putting it back in. Sounds simple, right? But here's the twist: I was in a rush and didn't boil the eggs long enough. When I started peeling them at the park, disaster struck. The yolks were still soft, and the whites kept breaking apart. Everyone was watching, and I was so embarrassed. One of my friends laughed and said, "Looks like you've been defeated by an egg." That day, I learned two things. First, always time your eggs. And second, even mistakes can teach you useful language. Let's explore some more vocabulary. When you peel a hard-boiled egg, you're removing the shell. So you can say, "I peeled the eggs," or "the shell came off easily." And when you slice the egg, you might say, "I cut it in half," or "I sprinkled some salt on top." These phrases are not just for food, they help you describe actions in daily life. One reason people love hard-boiled eggs is because they're portable. You can take them anywhere. They don't make a mess. You can eat them at your desk, in a lunchbox, or on a picnic. That's why they're sometimes called a perfect snack. In English, we often describe them as healthy, filling, and easy to prepare. But some people think hard-boiled eggs are boring. They say there's no flavor or it's too dry. Well, here's the thing. A hard-boiled egg is like a blank canvas. You can add anything to it: salt, pepper, hot sauce, herbs, and suddenly it becomes exciting. That's a great lesson in life and language. Something plain can become special with just a little creativity. So the next time you peel a hard-boiled egg, think about all the language you're practicing. Timing, boiling, peeling, slicing, seasoning, each word gives you the power to describe your world more clearly, more confidently. And that's what learning English is all about. It's not just about memorizing words, it's about using them to express your life. Even when that life includes something as simple as a boiled egg. It was a lazy Sunday morning, and I found myself in a cozy little diner at the corner of my street. The waitress came over with a warm smile and asked, "How would you like your eggs?" Without hesitation, I said, "Sunny side up, please." It's my go-to choice when I want something that looks beautiful and feels comforting. That soft golden yolk sitting proudly on top like the morning sun, it always makes me feel calm and ready to start the day. Let's talk about sunny side up eggs. The name itself is cheerful. You crack the egg directly into a hot pan and let it cook without flipping it. The egg white becomes firm, but the yolk stays bright and soft, almost like a tiny sunrise on your plate. It's not just about how it looks, it's also about texture. The top of the egg remains a little wet, a little delicate. In English, we describe this as the yolk is runny or the egg is cooked on one side only. These are very natural ways to talk about food preparation. The phrase runny yolk is especially useful. You might say, "I love dipping my toast into a runny yolk," or "I don't like my eggs runny." It all depends on personal taste. But not everyone likes sunny side up eggs. Some people think the uncooked top looks strange or feels too soft. I remember once, while traveling with a friend, I offered him my sunny side up egg. He took one look and said, "How can you eat that? It's not even cooked." We laughed, of course, but it reminded me how different people have different food habits. And this is where language becomes really important. When you express food preferences in English, you're actually learning how to describe what you like and don't like in a polite way. Instead of saying, "This is bad," you can say, "I'm not a fan of runny yolks," or "I usually prefer my eggs fully cooked." See the difference? It's respectful, natural, and shows good communication skills. Now, let's talk a little about common breakfast expressions in English. For example, we often say things like "I'm in the mood for," or "I felt like having." These are great for talking about cravings. You could say, "I felt like having sunny side up eggs this morning," or "I'm in the mood for pancakes." These expressions help you speak fluently and casually. There's also a cultural point here. In many Western countries, breakfast is considered the most important meal of the day. That's why people talk about it so much. It's more than just food, it's a daily ritual. When you understand how people talk about breakfast, you begin to understand their values, habits, and priorities. So, next time you're cooking or ordering eggs, try to describe them in English. Practice saying, "I'll have mine sunny side up," or "Can I get 2 eggs, 1 fried, 1 boiled?" The more you say it, the easier it gets. And with each word, you're not just learning a language, you're building confidence, culture, and connection. All thanks to a single, beautiful egg on a plate. There's something about food that brings out emotion. It can remind us of childhood, of comfort, or even of frustration. And for me, nothing brings out all three quite like a fried egg. Not sunny side up, not boiled, just a classic, fully cooked, flipped once, fried egg. It's the kind of egg that feels solid, familiar, and safe. But even something that's simple can lead to strong opinions and some very useful English. Let's break it down. A fried egg starts just like a sunny side up egg. You crack it into the pan. But here's the key. After the bottom cooks for a minute or two, you flip it over and cook the other side. The yolk becomes slightly firmer, sometimes even fully cooked, depending on how long you leave it. In English, this is often called over easy if the yolk is still a little runny, over medium if it's half cooked, or over hard if it's fully cooked through. These phrases are fantastic for English learners because they show how specific you can be about what you want. Imagine being at a restaurant and confidently saying, "I'll have my eggs over medium." It shows not just vocabulary, but real-life fluency. Now let's talk about the verb flip. It's very common in cooking. You flip pancakes. You flip a burger. You flip an egg. It means to turn something over, usually using a spatula. Try saying this out loud. "I flipped the egg and cooked the other side." Simple sentence, but very useful in daily English. Here's a story. One morning, I tried to impress someone by making them breakfast. I asked, "How do you like your eggs?" They replied, "Fried, please over easy." I smiled like I knew exactly what to do, but truthfully, I had no idea what over easy even meant at the time. I ended up flipping the egg to hard, the yolk broke, and it became more like an omelet disaster. They were polite, of course, but I could tell the eggs weren't exactly what they wanted that day. Taught me 2 things: ask questions, and never pretend to know a cooking term you're not sure about. This brings us to another great English phrase. How do you like your eggs? It's such a simple question, but it opens the door to rich conversation. You learn about preferences, about culture, and even about people's personalities. You might say, "I like my eggs soft," or "I can't stand runny yolks." The more you practice answering questions like this, the more natural your English becomes. Let's not forget how fried eggs show up in so many meals. On toast, in a sandwich, on top of rice, even on a burger, they're flexible. And just like fried eggs, your English should be flexible too. You should be able to change your tone, adjust your words, and adapt to different situations. That's fluency. So next time you're in the kitchen, flip that egg with confidence. Describe what you're doing out loud. Say things like, "I'm frying an egg," or "I'm going to flip it now." These actions become your practice. They make the language real, alive, and connected to your life. Because when you learn through something as ordinary as a fried egg, your English becomes anything but ordinary. It becomes powerful, personal, and most of all practical. There's something magical about how one little egg can carry so many lessons, so many stories. And now, after exploring scrambled, boiled, fried, and sunny side up eggs, I want to talk about what all of this really means for language learning, for culture, and for you. Think about it. When you talk about eggs in English, you're not just talking about food. You're learning how to express preferences, how to describe textures, how to give instructions, and how to tell a story. That's powerful. Because the more you can describe the small things in life, the better you'll be at describing big things to your ideas, your feelings, your experiences. One thing I've realized over the years is that food, especially breakfast, connects people in ways we don't always notice. Every culture has its own way of starting the day, and every person has their own egg story. Some like soft yolks, some want everything cooked through. Some love spice, some add cheese, some even crack eggs into soup or over rice. And every time we describe these things, we open a new door to understanding each other. And sometimes those doors open to memories. I'll never forget the time I traveled through Europe and stayed at a small bed and breakfast in the countryside. The host served me a hard-boiled egg in a tiny cup with a silver spoon. After I ate it, she gently reminded me to crack the bottom of the shell. "Why?" I asked, curious. "So the fairies can escape," she said, smiling. That moment stuck with me not just because it was charming, but because it reminded me how even small food traditions carry deep meaning. And in English, we can express those meanings with simple, beautiful phrases like "it's a family tradition" or "it's something we always did growing up." Let's also remember a phrase we talked about earlier, "I felt like." That phrase can completely change how you express yourself. I felt like having scrambled eggs today. I didn't feel like cooking, so I boiled a couple of eggs. These are real natural expressions. Add them to your daily English and you'll sound more fluent in no time. Another one, drives me crazy. We all have moments like that: burnt toast, overcooked yolks, missing salt. But we also have moments of joy, the perfect bite, the first sip of coffee, a warm breakfast shared with someone you love. And that's the heart of today's story. Eggs might seem simple, but they teach us about care, attention, and communication. They teach us to be precise because 1 minute too long can change everything. They teach us to listen because when someone says sunny side up, they really mean it. And they teach us to express ourselves, to say what we like and what we don't, all through language. So the next time you sit down for breakfast, pause for a moment. Think about how you describe that plate in English. What do you see? What do you taste? What do you feel? Speak it out loud if you can. Write it down. Practice it. Because learning English isn't about memorizing long lists or perfect grammar. It's about connecting. Through food, through feelings, through stories. And thank you for being a part of the Best English Podcast Zone.